Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, a very good afternoon to you. My name is Dan Tederini. I'm a project manager at the Swiss Pavilion, and I work for an agency of the Swiss government called SMECEYI. SMECEYI is an organization of the State Secretariat of Education, Research, Innovation, putting forward Swiss universities, startups, and innovative companies, not only promoting them, but also connecting them with valuable equivalents from the entire world. And for 6 months at Expo 2020, SMECEYI is within the Swiss Pavilion. And within these 6 months, we are putting forward our universities, our startups, and our innovative company, and matching them with equivalents from the UAE, the Middle East, and the entire world. And today, oh boy, we have a treat for you. Today, we are launching the final event of the Swiss Middle East Circular Economy for Youth Initiative. Let me give you a little background about this. This initiative started back in March. As you know, Expo was postponed, and with my colleagues, we had the idea, how about doing something to keep the momentum during this gap? And so we were able to create this initiative. We started with 15 teams from Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, the occupied territory of Palestine, and the UAE. We were able to draw these teams, to connect them with Swiss students and Swiss professors. Before I dive into more detail, we are very pleased to host Ambassador Massimo Baggi, our representative in the UAE and Bahrain, who is here to give us a few opening remarks to this event. Ambassador Baggi, the floor is yours.
Dear friends of SMECEYI and dear friends of the Swiss Pavilion, dear members of the jury and participants to this excellent initiative, believe me, it gives me so much pleasure to be here today. I had a chance to participate to the launching of the initiative, and I'm really very much pleased to be here now to witness the last mile of this initiative, which has been told was already very much successful. I think this is so far one of the best events that we are hosting here at the Swiss Pavilion, for many reasons. Maybe not the biggest, but for sure one of the best events we have here. First of all, because the topic is extremely important to us, to the government of Switzerland, and I think combining youth and the circular economy is only a matter of proud of us, for us. And of course, you are doing that also in uniting several prestigious institutions from various countries, and this is absolutely in the spirit of what we are doing here at Expo 2020 Dubai and on the Swiss Pavilion. I keep saying the Expo is not a fair. We are not here to sell any specific product. We are here to try to shape a few new ideas for the future. And I think that the combination of a topic with a prestigious player as you are in this environment is really a unique opportunity that we have. And we have to succeed. We don't have much excuses now. Here at the Expo for 6 months, everybody is here. We have the government. We have the government of almost all the countries in the world, and I have the chance to represent my government here, the government of Switzerland. But also we have the NGOs, we have the private companies, we have families, and we have children. I think that we have everybody here at the Expo, and most of these stakeholders are represented within this beautiful project. That means we have to succeed, and this is why, as I was saying before, this is for sure one of the best example of project that we can put forward in an environment like Expo 2020 Dubai. Switzerland is taking an important responsibility for the success of the Expo. You may know that we have been supporting the Expo from day one. We have been the first country to do that. You know, it's not self-evident. You have to, you need a political will to do that. And this we have very much in Switzerland, and we share this political will from the very beginning with the Expo. And believe me, when you are about to implement such a mega project like this one, it is very important to have serious partner like Switzerland to support you very much. And in addition to that, we have the chance to chair the steering committee of all participating countries. Thank you, our Commissioner General, Manuel Salchi, who is here among us today. Thank you very much, Manuel. I think that this shows how much Switzerland is a privileged partner of Expo 2020 Dubai. We are privileged to have this position, but it gives us also a huge responsibility, because we have to make the Expo a success. And I think that through this partnership that we are putting together right now, we increase very much the chances to be very successful at this Expo. The Swiss Pavilion is successful. I think that you had probably the occasion to see the Swiss Pavilion. It's beautiful, it's working well, people appreciate it. But most of all, I think that we have to bring content forward. And this is very much a specific feature of Switzerland. Not only we want a beautiful pavilion, but we want a pavilion which is full of content. And if you go around, it's not always the case. It means that you have to do a special effort to bring content. And this is exactly what will make the difference at the end, whether we will be able to shape these few ideas and projects that we need for the future. I'm very much optimistic. I had the chance to be involved in previous Expo, and I think that this remains one privileged occasion that we have to do that. And with this word, I would like to thank you all, the participants, the jury, because you have done an excellent job so far, and I'm looking forward to discovering all your project, and even more than that, to see whether and to which extent in the future your project will go even a longer way forward. So thank you very much for your engagement, and good luck to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ambassador Badji, for these opening remarks. Before we dive further, I would like to present to you our judges for today, who are here. And I think it's going to be very interesting because we have different backgrounds who are going to be looking at the different initiatives. I'll let them introduce themselves just now, but it is my pleasure to present to you Dr. Fadi Bayou, who is the director of UPFL Middle East, based in Ras Al Khaimah. Mrs. Frédérique Nollet from Nestlé, who is in charge of the HR of the Europe and MENA region in dairy products, and who is here as a judge. Nestlé is one of our key organizations who is supporting this initiative and are able to train and support the students in their apprenticeship. And last but not least at all, Professor Daniel Schwendemann of the Ost University of Applied Science of East Switzerland, who is here, who has been a first judge. You'll see just now, we had different rounds. Daniel Schwendemann has been our first judge. He was there virtually in April for the first round, in September for the second round, and now it is an honor to receive him physically here at the pavilion. Maybe if you would like to present yourselves and say a few words.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here. I just indeed came from Switzerland for this event, so pleasure to be here. In fact, on top, so my name is Frédérique Nollet. I'm working for Nestlé. I'm a senior human resource executive in the company, and also on top of the position that Dante kindly mentioned, I'm also leading a project for Nestlé about enhancing youth employability in Europe, Middle East, and North Africa. So we have 3 components in this project. One is really about helping the students to be better prepared to enter the job market and also promote apprenticeship. That is a key, very successful way of learning in Switzerland. The second pillar is around, it's called Agripreneurship, is really helping young farmers to also be able to run a sustainable business. So also very important for us, especially because we are in the food industry. And the last one is very much linked, in fact, to the reason why I'm here as well. It's called entrepreneurship, and it's really helping young entrepreneurs, in fact, to mentor them and to help them develop their new project and make them viable in the future.
Good evening, everybody, and it's an honor for me to be here amongst you. My name is Fadi Bayoud. I work for the EPFL, École Polytechnique Fédérale de Lausanne. In English, it translates the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. I'm the Deputy Director of the Middle East branch. I lead operations in Ras Al Khaimah here. And as EPFL, as a leading educational institutions in Switzerland, it's a world-known, renowned university, we have 3 missions to work on. The first one is education. We grow talent, we produce engineers, scientists to put in the market. Second is research, because now currently, if you have education without research, it's not as good. So always we have to combine education and research. And which is better than that is when we have innovation. So innovation is the third mission that we have. Innovation, when it comes, when you combine research in your university with a social question. So if you take a research and you keep it in the drawer, it's good, but it doesn't provide the social impact that we as EPFL are very keen in providing this. So this is the third mission, which is innovation, bringing an idea all the way to have a product that can have a good social impact to society. And this is what we are trying to do here in the Middle East. We are trying to forge collaborations between EPFL and local universities in UAE in particular, and in the GCC in general. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
So thank you very much for the introduction. I welcome you also, everybody here, to this initiative final stage. My name is Daniel Schwendemann, and I'm a professor in mechanical engineering at the Eastern Switzerland University of Applied Science. I'm an engineer, was working quite a long time also for a machine building company, and now I'm since 11 years in the University of Applied Science. We are specialized in our institute in plastics processing, and in my special area I'm plastics recycling, bioplastics, and all these kinds of the circular economy. And I'm happy to be here. I was also traveling from Switzerland for this event. And I always want to say, before we now start, congratulations already to every team who is here, because I have to say, I was in the initiative from the beginning, and I have to say it was an excellent work what you did, all of you, and because I sometimes also tell to my students and colleagues, you do not get credits or what else for this, you did it by, I will say, beside the normal work, and it was a tremendous work, and the pictures you made, the videos and everything, so really congratulations, and good luck.
Thank you very much, dear judges. Before we then move to the pièce de résistance of the event, I wanted to share with you a few slides about the initiative, which is the Swiss Middle East Circular Economy for Youth Initiative, SMECEYI. It's a bit hard to pronounce, SMECEYI, I know, but still we can manage it. Essentially, we have tasked our students from the Middle East and from Switzerland to solve 2 challenges at once. The first one being excessive waste generation. In the MENA region and in Switzerland too, we produce a lot of waste, and this is a big impediment to us living in a sustainable world. That's the first one. The second challenge is about youth unemployment, which is rife throughout the world. And so we have tasked our students to come up with a solution which would solve these 2 issues, 2 birds with 1 stone. We have started, as mentioned, the phase back in March. Actually, I was starting this on while being in lockdown, while being in lockdown in my flat on Zoom. So I was developing this, reaching out to different universities. Hey, we would really like to collaborate with you. Yes, no. And then in the end, we were able to have 15 teams who join up. And then afterwards, we had the first phase of selection in April, where Daniel was one of the judges. And then we went down to 10. And then afterwards, these 10 teams developed. They developed the linkages with other Swiss students, with other Swiss professors, with the Swiss companies. And they were able to increase their links with Switzerland. And then in September, we were able to have a last final round of selection. And then we had 5 finalists, but then 2 had the same amount of scores. And so we thought to ourselves, no, come on, we have to have the 6th one. So it was supposed to be 5, but now it is 6. And we're thrilled to have you all here today. So we have here, let me present to you briefly our different teams. They will be able to present themselves later on. We have a team from Al-Quds University in Palestine, multi-green. We have a team Plasticycle from the Holy Spirit University of Kaslik, who are here too. We have team iCollect, also from the Holy Spirit University of Kaslik in Lebanon. We have team Nomas from Chaos University, King Abdullah University of Science and Technology. Then we have team Reloop from St. Joseph University of Beirut. And then last but not least, we have our very own home sustainable builders from the UAE University, who will be here today. Okay, I think we are ready for the first pitches. So, Team iCollect, floor is yours. Before we start, just to give you a bit of information, so the teams will be pitching, and then afterwards the judges will be asking them questions. Then we will have 1 or 2 questions from the audience if you want to interact. Okay?
Good luck. Thank you. Good. Hi, and welcome to our pitch about iCollect. Yeah, you want to go? Good. Your camera's up. Good. So this is Adib, and my name is Michael, and we represent a diverse team from people from Lebanon and Switzerland. What we are tackling is the waste problem in developing countries, with a special focus on Lebanon, as most of our team is from there. Yeah, good.
Okay, so this is where we intervene as a project, where we are rethinking the waste collection system, and we are digitalizing it using an application where normal people, ordinary people, are going to sort their waste at home, okay? After sorting, they will bring us the waste to our collection facilities that are placed in strategic locations on their way to home or university. And then, after dropping their waste, they will going to be scaled on a scale that will provide them with a QR code for them to scan on the application. And then, after scanning this QR code, they will receive rewards as points for their contribution. And then they can cash out these points for rewards like coupons, discounts, and other rewards. And finally, we will further sort those waste and compact them in order to sell them to companies that work in recycling industry. Now, our financials suggest that we are a profitable project, and also that we should break even after 2.5 years. And we are also very glad to have the interest and get some letters of intent from Swiss and Lebanese-based companies that are willing to buy our waste, especially the Lebanese ones, and also to help us with their expertise, especially the Swiss-based ones. And we are already having an operational facility in our university in Lebanon, where we are collecting the waste of the students themselves, and we are compacting them, further sort them, and also sell them to Lebanese-based companies. So we are closing that loop and connecting the source of the waste and those who profit from the waste itself. Our next steps are finalizing the mobile app, since we are only having a prototype. Then we should secure the credit system for the rewards. And finally, we have to implement them to our already existing facility, and then also expand the network to go beyond the borders of the university itself. That's about everything, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the nice presentation. I have one technical question. So if you collect the waste or the plastic parts, yeah, how you are sure that you have a very good, proper sorting of the material?
Yes, thank you for your question. Well, the first process is sorting at home, okay, which is a preliminary sorting. We cannot ask from the people to do an advanced sorting. So at least the plastics alone, the glass alone, which is a problem, not in advanced countries, but in developing countries like Lebanon also, which we are targeting. That's very important, okay? Then the pre-sorted waste are going to be further sorted using our some labors in our facilities to meet the criteria for the recycling companies, and they're going to be further compacted in order to save for them the transportation cost of the waste themselves in order to access more easily this waste. Welcome.
Thank you for the presentation. I have a questions about the financials, if I may.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, you say for the first year, the production capacity is 25%, and the total revenue, total expenses is $245,000, and the total revenue is $123,000.
Yes.
And knowing the current financial situation in Lebanon, with the lack of dollars and so how many tons you need to collect to have such a revenue?
Okay. I'm not memorizing the exact number, but we set for at least the university itself, which is targeting around 6,000 students and their families, if they are going to get their waste from their homes also, by about, I guess, maybe 0.2 kilograms per day per family we are talking. Okay, this is the targeted capacity, let's say, of the facility itself. But in order to be further realistic, okay, so we assume that only 25% of the targeted capacity is reached at the first year, since we cannot directly target all the market or all the desired network. And then regarding the projections, we are increasing as we are further developing and increasing the awareness of the people. It's very worth mentioning, by the way, sorry, regarding the awareness itself, which is a key problem in those countries. And we are going to take advantage of this network that we are establishing in order to launch some awareness campaigns and invest in use, even from our own revenues, in order to, in the future, we don't need to reward them anymore. So we are they will feel that it is their duty. So this is some kind of our mission, by the way. Just I took the advantage of your question to implement this idea. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, how much are you planning to, or are you projecting to selling the 1 kilogram of plastic waste?
Okay, this is some kind of, it's a somewhat tricky question, especially in Lebanon. I know that in Lebanon, from like a direct experience, 1 ton of waste in 1 month changed from $480 into $280. So the market is very flexible. It depends on the price of oil itself. It depends on the production of waste. And also it depends on the currency rate that is very changing rapidly also in Lebanon. So it's about a hard question to answer, but it goes up and down with the market itself, with the demand and the supply.
Yeah, I understand that. Now, if you want to get the $123,000, how many tons do you need to have? And can you collect all these tons from 6,000 households?
Okay, we are not just targeting plastic itself.
Mm-hmm.
We are targeting plastic and also all types of waste, mainly cardboards from the from the architecture department, for example, in our facility that's already established in the university, there's a good proportion of the waste that is coming from the architecture department, where they are using a lot of foam for their maquettes. And also from the restaurants, there are cans, there are metals, and from the construction itself inside the university. For further, how many tons we are going to reach, it will depend on how effective is our marketing campaign is going to be, and how we are going to develop it. Because we have to start somewhere, but also we don't have to stop at our limit. We have to increase this reach.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I have one question that is related to what you were mentioning about targeting 6,000 youth.
Yes.
In fact, the moment the app is alive, I mean, if your view is about rewarding the students to bring it back, it will go much further, because, you know, everybody will be willing, I mean, rewarding for that, everybody will be willing to contribute, or probably a lot more than just, so how are you going to control that?
Okay, that's a very great question. There's already a present system in the university, not for the waste itself, because we are already trying to take care of that, which is for driving, okay, which is called USAC carpool. If you go like more than 3 people in the same car, you will get discounts and you will get rewards even on the tuition fees sometimes, okay, from some partners of the university. Okay, so at first we have to rely on some kind of community help, but inside the financial projections, we mentioned a self-funding of those rewards. So, did I answer your question, or do you want more specific?
No, it's okay, but curious to see how you manage this.
Okay. We don't have to expect like those high rewards at first. Okay, so it will be like from an encouragement point of view. We are going to take advantage of civic engagement classes also. We have to notice that the main objective is to increase awareness, which is going to be in parallel with the rewards. The rewards are going to give some encouragement, but also if only rewards are going to motivate the people, then there's a problem. Okay, we acknowledge that they need that extra push to do so, but we have to invest in letting them know that it is their duty. That was mentioned before in a later event, in an earlier event, I guess.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, in Lebanon, we have so much waste. We know the story. Now, what is it that you are doing that others haven't done?
Okay, yes, great.
And why nobody has, I'm not sure if, I think there are some people that are doing collection, sorting, and sending. So what is it that makes you different from others who are already doing that?
Yes, that's a great question. The others that are doing that, if we can like classify them as competitors, okay, they are classified or registered in Lebanon, most of them as NGOs, okay, because using their current methods, they are not very profitable, because they rely on the people that they will drive into their facilities that are located somewhat far away from their routine journeys, okay? They cannot afford themselves to go, the NGOs, they cannot afford to do the transportation thing. And then there is no, how to phrase it, they are not well sorted, the waste, okay? This is why we are tackling at first the use, because they are the most aware and most accessible through technology. This is why we developed at first the app. And because we are placing our collection centers on their way, and also making advantage of some university works, for example, some volunteering for the civic engagement course, which every student has to do, we can save not just on the transportation cost, but also on the labor cost. And the machinery is quite simple. We just have to further sort and then compress in order to deliver, let's say, instead of 3 tons only of waste per truck cycle, 5 tons per truck cycle. So the increased efficiency and decreasing the cost, this will help. That will help us to be profitable, if you want. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Team iCollect. Next on our list is Multigreen. Could we encourage Multigreen, everybody? Thank you.
Yes. Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Ayat, and my friend Ala from Palestine. We are here today to tell you about our project. So, unfortunately, most of the people in the world are racing to get more money and power without thinking of the environment. So, we are here to tell you about our project. Multigreen. Multigreen contains three systems together. Three systems, which means three products or even more. So, here we are working on the fish wastewater. I said waste, but it's rich of organic components such as nitrogen and phosphorus. So we have the aquaculture system and the hydroponic system and the wetland. We will start with the aquaculture. Okay. Here in the aquaculture, we are working on breeding fish. So this fish wastewater must be changed from 2 to 3 days. Most of the people, they waste it in the wrong way. So we're gonna reuse this wastewater. How? Ala will tell you.
Multigreen decide to reuse the fish wastewater, which is contain organic components such as nitrogen and phosphorus. These components are the most. These components are the most important for the plant to grow up. So in step 2, hydroponic, which is contain plant enriched solution, and it's not the end. The reused water will pass to wetland system. Wetland system, which is contain animal feed plant. And in step 4, this treatment water will return to fish tanks in step 1. So this is the circular economy to save water. And to improve our project, we decide to add solar panels to save electricity and adding bioreactor to maintain a healthier environment. Because our goal is zero solid, zero liquid discharge. So for sustainability environment, Multigreen is environmentally friendly, and for sustainability society, Multigreen produce organic food, which there's no or less pesticide residues. And for sustainability economy, Multigreen is circular economy to save water, because the most problem that the world is facing is water shortage. And thank you all.
Thank you very much for this interesting project, because water is really something which is short in these dry areas. I have one question concerning the step 3 in the wetlands. So, yeah, sure, I think you can go back. So how you avoid a loss of the water, or what you have calculated, or what you have checked out, what would be the loss of water from step 1 to step 4, or because maybe I think step 3 is an open step, as I understood, or so it's in a wetland, it's not in a bazaar. So
yeah, it will be wetland. So the treated water, the wastewater will go to the hydroponic system. So the plant in the hydroponic system will take all of the organic components, but it's too much. So we will let it go to the wetland, so we can it will be more treated.
okay, that means in a wetland you have already a natural bazaar where the water is not.
We're gonna put animal seeds and plant them there.
Okay.
Sorry. We can filter the water without soil to return to the fish bank.
Okay.
Fish tank.
Then it's clear. Yeah. So that means the water is kept naturally wise in this area. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Interesting project. This is circular, as we can see
Yes.
it. Yeah. And you find, yeah, you said you are going. So this project is not there yet because you said you are going to.
No, actually, all of the photos that you have seen. Okay, all of the photos that you have seen here, we have already did it in a small scale, and we've got a perfect result actually. So as you can see, please, all of the plants here are dark green, which means that they are really healthy.
How big is
And
that in terms of meters?
Actually, I have it on my phone. They took the lettuce actually in 1 month was
I mean
like
the
huge.
plant,
Five.
the area. How big is the area?
Oh, it's
500 meters
Square.
square,
Okay.
yeah.
In your financials, you don't mention anything about the cost of personnel,
Personal,
like salaries, people.
Actually, for the cost, we just buy the seedlings and the maternal fish, and anything will circular for electricity and water and whatever.
This is clear. Now, you need some people to manage the fishery because we understand that fisheries require lots of human resources, people to clean, to take care of that fish. Your salaries, management, operation, sales, procurement, marketing. So this is the human resources. I don't see any contribution for them in the financials here.
Sorry, I don't know why it's not written there, but we don't need a lot of people to work there, maybe. So we need small cost,
Maybe?
No, not maybe, for sure. Actually, we have worked it before, so I'm sure what I'm talking about.
So, but
yeah.
here, as I see, there is no mention of the human resources, human, salaries and operations,
Yes.
and the for example, the electricity and water. It's, for example, maintenance, $300 for maintenance. Don't you think that this is too little to maintain such an operation?
The scale here for scale is small, I think, so it's matching it.
Yeah, I think you need to have a more elaborate financial plan here, because by the numbers that you have here, I have a problem understanding how you can be viable and how these add up without contributing to other costs that you will be incurred.
I don't know.
Okay, I also have another question related to youth, because in fact part of the project was also to connect between the circular economy and youth empowerment. How do you, did you tackle that somewhere? Or it's not part of your project at all?
No, I don't think.
No, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
And would also like to open the floor to any members of the public if you have any questions. Also for iCollect, we didn't give you the opportunity of doing this, so if ever you have any questions, let us know. Manuel.
Yes, my voice is loud enough, I think. I have a question to the first team because I did not quite get it. Currently in Lebanon, nobody is collecting waste or recycling waste, or there are some people or institutions like the NGOs actually.
Okay, in some numbers, Lebanon produces about 700 tons of plastic per day, okay, but has only the capacity to recycle 80 and the collection capacity to recycle even less. So, and those proportions are very similar to other developing countries, plus or minus, of course, give or take. So our method is here to optimize this collection and make it further efficient by reducing its cost to be able to sell the waste itself for the recycling companies in order to make them also more economical.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And if I may, to the second team, the project looks very familiar. We have it on rooftops in Swiss cities. It's just fish and plants, actually. I think it's a follow-up question to Mr. Schwendemann. What I did not quite understand, I can't imagine that actually if you, okay, concrete question, you put in 100 liters of water into a fish tank, how much at the end will I get back to put into the next fish tank? I did not quite understand because plants are actually absorbing water.
So,
do you have a figure? Or?
so to repeat the question, if you put 100 liters inside your project, how much would you take out afterwards?
Okay, so on the tanks there's a range. Actually, I don't know numbers. So on the tanks there's a range that the water should be on. So we check it every day, but it will be a little, not too much. So number, I don't know actually. Yeah, thank you.
I can actually tell you about our component. It's actually 95%, so you lose only 5% of water, and then the 95 is recycled back because in reality.
So 95 will go from hydroponics to.
So you'll only lose 5% because in reality the plants only take the nutrients of the fishes, which is their waste, where in reality it's not taking the actual water. It takes a very minimal percent of water.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
We have one question from Matteo.
Thank you so much. Matteo Boffa, President of the Swiss Business Council in Abu Dhabi, angel investor in startups related to sustainability and environmental impact. A question for the first team. I recently invested in a startup that is very similar, not in Lebanon. The only difference that make it now profitable is pick-up door-to-door system and subscription-based. So people will subscribe with $5 or $9, and the team that will, your team or the team of this startup will come and collect door-to-door. And basically the people that will collect are people with determination. They are ex-prisoners, so people that are excluded from the society. So you don't have only the environmental impact, but you have the social impact. And this will give you the chance to get grants from government. So at the same time, you can make profit from the subscription, and you can as well have a positive social impact. So this can be something to evaluate, and I will be more than happy to discuss with you afterwards.
Yes, of course. At first, that's great, the social impact. It will add, other than to increase the awareness that we are trying to do, is also to target or to help those people also go back into society as normal. Regarding our way of doing it, the collection of the waste, one of the two biggest costs are transportation, okay? And not just transportation. I don't know all the details about the startup that you invested in, but I guess that the bottles, or let's assume plastic, okay? Plastic bottles that are going to be collected, the truck will be filled, but the bottles are most of them empty. So the density, the truck will be filled with about 2 tons, okay? In our way, the people on their way, they are going to deliver the waste, and we are going to compress them. So there's no transportation cost at first, and then we are going to compress them for the people that we are going to sell those waste to. So they are going to save up also on their transportation costs, or if we are going to deliver them, if they do not have the waste or the truck. So that way we thought that it would a lot decrease the cost, and like I said previously, increase the efficiency of the whole system. Thank you.
Another question here.
Thank you. Also to Group 1, I collect. So now when the government uplifted the subsidies on fuel, people are more reluctant to drive. And there is an existing alternative model from Live, Love, Recycle. They collect door to door. So how you can compete with this and remain attractive?
Yes, you are absolutely right. But the difference, okay, Live, Love, Recycle, okay, are going themselves to pay the fees. And by removing the subsidies, that your cost, the cost of Live, Love, Recycle, will more than double when they lifted the subsidies, okay? So these are increased costs. We have to remind ourselves that we have to be sustainable as a project in order to continue and and stay over the years, okay? So we are taking advantage of the already present network, where the people are going every day. For example, the universities in our UZEC, because there are 6,000 people that are now coming after the pandemic already in buses or in their own cars. They are coming to us. So with or without us, the gas is going to be paid. The only difference is that we are taking advantage of this already existing transportation method, so they can. So we are only just placing ourselves on their way, so we don't have to pay it, and they don't have to pay extra in order to go to us. That's, I guess, the difference. It should vary between 30 and 45% of the entire cost, because the other cost is going to be covered on the further sorting of the waste, because we know that households, they won't recycle PET alone, HDPE alone, and polypropylene alone. Those costs are going to be covered by the recycling center itself, because the recycling companies do not want, I just want plastic. I want PET because I recycle PET. I want HDPE because I recycle HDPE. That's the duty of the collection center itself. So that's another part of the second biggest cost in that project. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. I collect Multigreen. Thank you very much for participating. And now it is time for our friends from Saudi Arabia, Team Nomas from KAUST.
Hi, good afternoon. Could you please change the slides? Oh, it's here. Okay, good afternoon. I'm presenting on behalf of Nomas from KAUST, King Abdullah University of Science and Technology in Saudi Arabia. So let me start with a story. A few years ago, I was planning a road trip across the entire Arabian Peninsula. And to finish this very big circle, it's gonna take 350 liters of diesel. And guess what? All this can be covered by converting only half tons of plastic waste. But now the fact is, only a small portion of the waste are being reused based on the manual sortings, and the vast majority of them just end up to the landfill, which causes irreversible environmental pollutions, disease, and huge economic losses for purchasing the new materials that could have been reused. And now Nomas is here to solve the contradiction between producing a huge amount of waste and the relatively low level of reuse due to the manual sortings that is either inefficient or inaccurate. How are we gonna do that? We build machines that understand what we see and act like a human. So based on the research in computer vision and machine learning, we build the brain of the machine so that they can think smartly. At the same time, we make good camera systems so that they can see clearly. And at the end of the day, the machine can learn by itself and try to understand what we are seeing and automate the sorting processes into a degree that is much safer, more accurate, efficient, and economic than the current manual solutions. I'd like to also emphasize our recent achievement for this new designed camera system. So I won't go to details in these differentiable ray tracing models, but basically we have provided a framework that allows us for the first time to jointly design the optical parts, which mean the lens, and the algorithm parts, which we use a neural network to retrieve these images in an end-to-end manner. So this will allow us to see clearly with a larger field, with more extended depth, but with only a portion of the cost compared to the current commercial cameras. Look at this. The last pictures we showed how better performance we have made compared to one of the best cameras in the market, by which we can see clearly more of the details. And by the way, this camera system can not only be used in this sorting system we're going to talk about, but also can be used in the self-driving cars, in the cell phones, or other industrial cameras. So in addition to that cameras, we also rely on our own LiDARs, which can give us more information on the depth information. We also look at the hyperspectrum sensors, which can tell the machine to look at something that we cannot even recognize by our naked eyes. So all the data fusion from multiple sensors will be fed into the system, and we then develop a prototype on sorting different containers or plastic bottles. So this is a prototype we have developed, and they can sort different containers, and we designed this prototype in modular so that we can add additional modules or different robotic arms for different sorting scenarios or heavier duties. Since we are in Saudi, but the market in Saudi Arabia alone is already large enough, but with these techniques protected by a list of patents, we aim to increase the rate of recycling and to accelerate the society's transition towards circular economy in more countries. And we are also deeply engaged with Swiss universities. Our team member Meng Wei has made the way all the way to Zurich to meet our mentor, Dr. Joseph, in ZHAW, Switzerland, to discuss further opportunities of collaboration. And we have just won the first place in the IEEE international conferences last week in New Jersey. And we are so honored, also invited by the Switzerland ambassador in Saudi Arabia to discuss more opportunities in collaboration between us and other Swiss companies and institutions. And this is a system that we co-developed, supported by Dr. Joseph. So it's a bidder system where they can provide a real-time bidding functionalities, plus the classifications, the feedbacks, and real-time statistics. And later on, we're going to put that system in addition to the current sourcing system we already have to promote an even healthier environment for recycling. And this demo has been accepted for the Internet of Things conference in 2021. So all this work has been supported by our very lovely grid members. We have the technical backgrounds from the universities, as well as the business background in the industrials. And so we have complementary skills supported by people in different continents. Okay, I'll stop here, and that's us. Namas, thanks for your attention.
Thank you very much for this interesting presentation of this work what you have done. Yeah, I have one question. As I understood, you are learning with your sensors that the system knows what kind of part it is, and then it takes it. So you say, okay, this looks like a bottle, so I take a bottle. So, or you have also a sensor where you are checking, for example, what kind of plastic is it?
Yeah, so the plastic depends on not only the outlooking, so what we can see from our eyes. So for instance, in the hyperspectrum sensors, we can look at they are plastic eyes, they are plastics, but they are different types of plastic, even though they're in the same color. So that hyperspectrum sensor can tell us, okay, what exactly those materials relies to, should be categorized to, so that they can pick it up.
So it's a kind of a system like a near-infrared or what else, where you have the fingerprint?
Near-infrared is one of the options, but I don't think we really need it for this plastic. Maybe for the mental or heavy metals, we're going to use the near-infrared sensors.
Okay.
I also, so you just see my picture in the presentation. Thank again for being here. So regarding your question, so I would like to use a small experiment to answer your question. So if you get two things, one is like a metal, you see the metal here, and or you get something like clothes. If you close your eyes and touch it, and
you can feel which is a metal and which is like clothes, like the. So what we are doing here is like, because we have temperature, right? So we are injecting the energy, and depends on the materials that you faced. The material has different thermal, like let's say temperature diffusivity, because the temperature diffuse quickly in the metal. So you feel it's cold, right? And the clothes is like warm, but they're in the room for a while. There should be the same temperature. So what I want to say is like, according to your question, different materials, they have different like thermal diffusivity. This is one of our success to implement this technique to computer vision. As human, we appreciate what we have and what we use what we have, right? So in the computer vision, we use what we see. So the computer sees that. And we feel it, because then the thermal sensor doesn't feel it. So you see, we see it, and we feel it, and we react, use a robot, and react solid. So that's what we acting. And for your question, more detailed, like we can do the calibration for different materials, like the different plastic. And to the calibration, we know the index for each plastic bottles. Then we can know better this, to sort out the waste.
But that means that you are learning the system, that you check in it, and you are maybe using other technologies to measure what kind of plastic it is, and to, I would say, to calibrate the machine. Because if we are in plastic recycling, for example, we have problems with black colors. Yeah, sometimes on the infrared sorting, we have problems with sorting PE and PP. Yeah, we have these mixtures on it. And it's clear that if you have, I would say, different materials, that's clear for me. Yeah. And one last question, technically wise, you are picking it with this robot, a system, and how you avoid that you have problems maybe with some dirt material on the bottles, because I would say in the examples I have seen mostly very nicely clean bottles, so how you solve these problems, because in the waste bin typically you have a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, that's a very good question and practical question. So the system we have designed now are not essentially designed to replace the people. So totally replace the people. We can replace maybe 80% of the labors. So I would say we still need 20% of the labors to have a very raw classification for these materials. So through those ones that we can be picked up by this system, then we can all the rest, just let it go with the machines.
Okay, thank you. Interesting.
I have one question. In fact, when did you launch your website?
The website?
Yes, because you are advertising it on your. So I had a look.
Yeah, the website I think is launched last year.
Okay,
yeah.
So then my next question related to that is that what was your objective to participate to this challenge? Because compared to, for instance, the two previous projects that we saw, they are really in the making and all that. So I feel that here you are much more advanced. So I was wondering what was your objective, and if you work with a researcher in Switzerland and all that, what was what was your objective?
Okay, that's also a very good question. So what Normas used to do is to purely based on the computer visions. We used to provide solutions or try to provide solutions for the industrial production lines. And we have not done anything about the sortings or recycling or anything to the environment or the sustainability. But Donna has made a chance for us to, okay, we can think about out of the box. What we have done in other industrials might also benefit us for this theme, for this sustainability and recyclable things. And this is why we're here. This is our mission. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, absolutely clear. And then I have another question before I hand over to my colleague there. It's related to use, because I see this is very much around automation and all that. Is there any component of youth empowerment?
Indeed. Actually, I didn't put it in the slides. But, when we train the models, we need a lot of annotations. We like to involve all those youth, the young student, tell them how to annotate the data. They can make their contributions. They know how to categorize different plastics from a very young age. And this, for them, they can learn how to get these things right, because this could be one of the skills they're going to need in the later stage. But also, we will benefit from it. We don't need to spend a lot of energy to annotating those data, so it's a double win game.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, interesting project from the technical and scientific point of view, by all means. Now, I have many questions. I'm not sure how long I can. Have you heard of a company called the Clean Technica?
Clean Technica, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, they are founded in 2019, and they do exactly that.
Yeah, I think our mentor Joseph has also tell us about this.
Yeah. So the technology, as I've seen it also on videos in the documentary channels and programs, that such a technology already exists. So what is it that that you're providing to the market other than AI, which I believe it's already there in terms of sorting out, not waste other things?
For the best of knowledge I have, is most of their technology, or even there are others, not only this one, are based on the computer visions only. So it's purely by the visuals. So as Professor said, even though we can have a box, paper box, and the plastic bottles, they may all look in white, in the same color. But actually, they should be categorized to the different sorting scenarios. Yeah, then we use different sensors to look at this one to increase the rate of recycling and also increase the accuracy of the recycling.
Okay, now, you said that you could go for 80% automatic sorting out.
Yeah, that's a rough number.
Yeah, 20% by human. Now, if we go there and we said, let's say we have a plant or we have a sorting plant and we want to put your system there, how much does such a system cost so that it can sort out 80%? And 80% is very advanced, I believe, in sorting out automatically. And on the same wavelength, I couldn't see any financials in your write-up. How are you financing yourselves?
Yeah, so because we are just moved into these new areas for us, we used to do this machine learning for AIs for these pure computer vision problems. And now since we need to move to these sortings for different recyclables, this is also a new area for us. So our plan is to, let's see, we have made the calculations based on the price in Saudi, the labor price in Saudi. So it's like if they buy a machine like this, what we provide, they can replace 2 of their labors. And 2 of their labors, their salary for 1 year is more than the device that we produce.
How much?
The device we produce is like $150 US, 150,000 US dollars, sorry.
Okay, 2 laborers in Saudi doing sorting out, they would cost the company $5,000, $6,000 per year. 2 of them would be costing them 12, let's say 15,000 per year. And comparing that to 150,000, there is a big difference.
I think the numbers, like say we are selling this, let's say for $150,000. This is more than they need to pay now, at least now.
But you know that the labor cost for such a job in the region is very low.
It is low.
And yeah.
But this one is sustainable, right? We are not just making them for 1 year.
True.
Yeah.
But still, it is how much, for example, in terms of maintenance costs, and you still need to have a full department taking care of the electronics, of the maintenance, of the support, service. So this is also a part that you might want to think about, because here we don't see any financials.
Yeah, practically in terms of operation, yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah, all this need to be carefully thought of.
Thanks so much for your question. I think we'd better use tell the CFO, company to ask the question, but I can briefly give example. So in the world, we always make some great things, and at the beginning, yesterday I went to the U.S. pavilion and we see the SpaceX, and it probably all story like this. So we spend a lot of money in the beginning, and then to not only just for doing this stuff, it's like showing what we are doing to the world, and to inspire more people. That's why many people here to get the idea we are doing here. What we are doing here. So that's and in the future we also encourage the youths, as the lady said, you encourage youths to more participate inside. So, and the current stage, I think I saw the report from the CFO. So, like compare with the several companies in the world who is also doing this, we are quite less. This is the answer. So, not specific answer. We can talk in private and later have this one. We are quite less. So that's one part. And another part I mentioned again. So this is like kind of give example we are doing. So thank you.
So you are already existing company with CFO, CEO, CMO.
No, you have to task allocation, right? Yeah? That's what we have to allocate any task, and we can organize.
Any other question?
Yeah. Okay. Here.
Yes, I do have a question. Here, I'm sorry, I should take this mic, I guess. Okay, I just wanted to add to the jury's question, the last question, regarding the replacement of labor. We know that sorting facilities duty is not just to sort cans from plastic from cardboard, which it's worth mentioning that, like you said, from basic learning, youth can do it preliminary. So maybe you are targeting landfills. You can answer my question now. And also, the bottle, for example, a water bottle itself contains 3 kinds of plastics, okay, which are going to be needed to be further sorted. Are the workers that are going to strip this bottle into its main components, are they considered in the 80% or of the labor that are cut or remaining?
So if I understand your question correctly, is how do we separate the last categories of plastic if we still need labors or if we can rely purely on this system, right?
Yes, because the potential of the bottle, it's not just itself in a separate bag, it's each component of that bottle and other products, of course, in each one in his own bag.
Yeah, I see. We are currently, by this system, we do not do that. So basically, what we are requested by the customer is that, okay, we need such kind of plastic bottles, they should be separated. But within the bottle, what are the caps, what are the bottle bodies, what are the caps, the labels? We don't do that. No. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I see that you use hyperspectral imaging, which I'm very familiar with. So you're combining this with the vision, with the video analytics component, so you can have 2 kinds of authentication and verification on the material. Yeah. So that's the first question. And secondly, where are you doing the processing? Are you doing it at the edge or it's centralized? Because one of the main problems with autonomous vehicle that's been delaying this for 10 years is you get a lot of amount of data and there's only fraction of a second to analyze this. And what I see on your moving belt, you won't have enough time to analyze these materials so you can sort it on time. Thank you.
Yeah, so the answer for the question is yes. So we use a data fusion method. So we are basically talking about the data which has been fused, not only with the visions, but also with the hyperspectrum sensors. The second answer is by training the model, yes, we have trained the model on the edge computing facilities. But when we run this model, we don't need that. Because training takes a lot of time, but recognition, once the model is pre-trained, we can do it. We don't need to rely still on the clouds.
If I may, here they say that they can select 100+ pieces per minute as per. Because we have access to the write-up, so they say that they can sort 100+ pieces per minute with the robotic arm.
Is a slow, it's a very accurate sensor, but it's slow. It needs at least 6 seconds to detect. And it has to be in the library, so he's gonna have to create millions of substance in his library so he can start doing some matching. I'm sorry, but I know a little bit about this. That's
yeah, so that's why we need to pre-train the models based on the data we have. But when we do that, as I said, if one robotic arm is not enough, we can add sequentially for more arms.
Okay.
let's move on to one last question, and then because we still have 3 more teams.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. So garbage is dirty, like recycling garbage is dirty, regardless of how you put it. In Switzerland, when we get it, it's dirty. There's a wide variety of chemical compounds in there. How sensitive is your IR spectra to separate out the difference between a pure PET plastic bottle and a PET plastic bottle that has a very thin layer of surfactant or any other contaminant in there that would skew the information?
Oh, to be honest, we didn't done a pure experiment for that very dirty bottles, because all the system have, when we first invented is going to be pure bottles. But as I said, we have tested because some of the bottle is not even dry. Some of them are wet.
Yeah, so if you're looking at IR, for example, if you're looking at carboxylate peaks, hydroxide peaks, ammonia, amides, these things, like there's very small differences, and especially IR can be really sensitive. So if you have to specify that a bottle has to be the exact, let's say, IR spectra, because I'm not entirely sure the technology and what you use for it, you're going to get very small ppm contaminants that are going to screw up the results in the end. So how do you, like, how sensitive is it to that? Yeah.
Yeah, of course, for these very tiny changes in or tiny differences in the different materials or different conditions of the plastic bottles, we were not able to do a 100% job on that. But I would say that as much as we do now is to replace as much as we can. And based on the technology, I'm sure that the new sensors is coming, the new technology is coming, but this could be an orientation that we could follow.
Okay. Thank you very much, Peng. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Team Namas. I'm not sure about you, but I can feel the heat increasing in this room with the tension. Okay, now it's time for Team Plasticycle.
Hello, my name is Marilis Salim. I'm one of the founders of Plasticycle, and this is my colleague Peter Abed. Also, he's from Lebanon, and we have one of our Swiss members. We have one of our Swiss mentors, Mr. Mark, who was also present with us today. Do you know that Lebanon was once known to be Switzerland of the East? But unfortunately, all what is left now is the title. What do I mean by this? Lebanon spent in the past decades billions of dollars investing in the tourism and services sectors, which resulted in unproductive system as we were neglecting the industrial and agricultural system. And this was behind different crises that we are now living. The first crisis is the waste crisis that Lebanon has been facing since 2015 with no permanent solution in sight. And the second crisis is the economic crisis that Lebanon is currently undergoing, and it's putting a lot of pressure on all the industrialists, especially the plastic industrialists, when it comes to importing raw materials due to the monetary policies. So we as Plasticycle will be providing the Lebanese market with a much needed product, the PP and PE pellets, by recycling the plastic bags generated in Lebanon. These pellets will be further used for plastic repurposing. Based on field investigations, it was found that the plastic bags are one of the most generated and untreated type of plastic in Lebanon. So by using our production rate, we'll be like gaining additional spaces in the landfills, and we'll be covering around 7% of the market needs of the plastic pellets imported from the outside. Our main competence is the extrusion line that is recycled, that is designed using a Lebanese and a Swiss collaboration to have the most cost-efficient and eco-friendly process. Well, to do this change, we are relying on the Lebanese youth
as they will be taking care and they will be taking part of all our project, from the input throughout the process and for the output. For the input, besides the biggest quantity of the raw materials that will be provided from the sorting centers and the landfills, we'll be creating collection points in the universities, schools, youth associations, and NGOs. These collection points won't only serve for collection, but we will also create them as an educational corner to educate our youth about the importance of the plastic recycling and the circular economy. Throughout the process, we'll be providing for the Lebanese youth internship and job opportunities in our plant. And for the output, besides selling our pellets for the Lebanese manufacturers, we will also be giving special discounts for all the young entrepreneurs who are willing to start their new venture in the plastic industry with the help of the startup hubs. So in this way, we won't be only recycling the plastic, but we'll be empowering the domestic economy, its youth, while creating the emergence of a bigger ecosystem in the country. Our business model, and it is based on a preliminary economic study, we estimate to have a high yearly profit that we should be able to break even after 1.5 years. And the Plasticycle won't only stop on this idea. We have different business expansion ideas in mind, like increasing the production rate, tackling new types of plastic, creating a platform with incentive, and organizing workshops and trainings for the youth. This is our team, the founders that are the resemblance of a tight Lebanese-Swiss collaboration, the marketing guys who are working hard on our presence on the social media, and the founder and the technical team that includes team members who are experts from Switzerland. You can help us help by being one of our partners if you are a university, a school, an association, an NGO, or a startup hub, or by making an investment in order to turn our project into a reality. And it is important to note that we got the support of the Lebanese Ministry of Environment. Also, we are trying to work on our presence on the TV and on the media in order to make our voice heard by all the Lebanese people about our project. Well, Plasticycle is the start of the change that we wish to see in Lebanon in order to deserve our title back, Switzerland of the East. Thank you.
Thank you for this nice presentation. I will come a little bit back to the technical issue. Yeah, we have now discussed quite a lot already on sorting, yeah, on this waste stuff. Yeah, so how you will assure that you have a good sorting of your materials, of your PE and PP?
Okay, so I will show you the process first. Using the near-infrared separator, we'll be able to collect the materials that we want, that they are the PP and PE bags. And also we'll be removing all the metals, and during the pre-treatment for the shredder and the washing line, we'll be able to have our material clean.
Okay, so that means you are working with washing and a near-infrared sorting system. Yes. I will say classical plastic recycling technology. Yeah. Okay, so from that point, so
of course, we'll be using like solvents during the washing line in order to do the inking process, in order to have like the best properties, since the presence of the ink will decrease the quality of the material.
Okay, so the idea is that Plasticycle is investing in this, or are you looking for a partner in Lebanon who is doing that?
Okay, so basically, we are looking for potential investors, and this will vastly change might change the scope of our project and how we actually do recycling. Since, of course, if someone will invest money in our project, they will become instantly the biggest stakeholder, and they will have some say in it. So basically, Marie-Lise explained the basic process, but of course, we can readapt. The basic technology is there, as you said, the washing line and the infrared separator are basic recycling technology. The innovation is done instead of the washer a bit with the solvent we will be using for the de-inking, and instead in the extruder, in the twin screw extrusion. So this is where the innovation will be done, but this will be done based on our investor and their needs and the market we will be tackling and what pellets will they be needing us to provide them. Marie-Lise, you can.
Okay, so mainly we have three like a general solution to be in order to have our project implemented in Lebanon. First, finding an investor in order to make our project become a reality. The second one, dealing with the municipalities. Probably they will be able to find like funding for our project and will be partners in this project. And the third one, if we have like an already existing company like a sorting center who aims to expand its work, so we can collaborate together. So these are the three scenarios that we have mainly, but also we are open to any scenario.
Okay, so you built up the scenarios in a moment, and you checked out the technically a solution together with the Swiss partners, and okay, from that point, the question is then at the end. So you have the Lebanese plastic industry who would take the pellets to make bags or what else, films there. One last question: in Lebanon, you think the plastic bag will survive? Because in Europe, it's already forbidden, it's banned.
Yeah, actually, this is why we started with a small quotation. We only recycle 300 kilograms per hour. If we recycle more, our process and our project will be much more profitable. But I would say the waste management circle in Lebanon is quite rigid. They are still using a lot of plastic bags. And I had a different startup that tackled that issue. And it was a failure because people didn't want to adapt to not using plastic bags. So yeah, plastic bags and mainly trash bags. Our main specialty is trash bags, since people are disgusted by them and they don't like trash bags, and people have this idea that they can't be recycled correctly. So this is where we come in. We can recycle these trash bags and make of them pellets that have very high qualities.
Yes, thank you. That was maybe also a little bit tricky question, but because there are many other films or what else which you can still also use in agriculture. Okay, thank you.
Be using all the films that are created from PP and PE, but we are like tackling the plastic bags because like we need to get to the people to know better. Like if I say for the people plastic films, they won't understand, but plastic bags, it's easier for them to get the idea.
Yeah, in Lebanon, as you may know, they're only called nylon, which isn't even nylon. They are made of PP and PE, so we have a challenge to be able to get our ideas across, and this is why we use plastic bag for it to be understandable to everyone.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. And you and Multigreen so far are have done the circular thing. You and Multigreen. And here, speaking of awareness, I have written it here in big letters. Awareness. We know the situation in Lebanon. We know that people don't sort out. And yours and I Collect, you concentrate on sorting out from the source, right?
Yeah, we have that pillar in our project, and this is something we want to work on. But this is not necessary. We, as you can see with our partners, we have already partnered with sorting centers who will be able to provide what we need.
Okay.
So this will be a work in progress. Ideally, as time progresses and as the lifetime of our project progresses, our reliance on our partners will decrease, and our reliance on our sorting centers that are constituted of the youth will increase. But we are not relying on them. We are doing it in order to be able to build up the social pillar of our project.
Just to add something, during our collection points in the universities, they will be next to the trash bins that they are provided also in the university. So if I am a student and I want to throw the plastic bag, I'm going to throw it in our bins, in Plasticycles bins. So no need like to have the sorting centers in the universities or in the schools.
Okay, and you mentioned here that you would require investors, municipalities, and sorting centers. Now, municipalities, we know how municipalities work in Lebanon, and the maximum we can do is try maybe to convince them to put those the boxes on the street. But this is very difficult, you know that, okay? I'm not sure if you can rely on that.
Just something. During our meeting with the Ministry of the Environment, now we are like relying on two types of solutions: a short-term solution and the long-term solution, where Plasticycle will be included. Like they want to create a new sorting centers, new plastic recycling plants. So that's why we are relying on one of these scenarios.
And in addition, very good points you're raising, but if you can notice, we have multiple stakeholders and multiple sources in order, because every source has a question mark. As you know, Lebanon, it's not the best case scenario in Lebanon. There are many problems, but we do not rely on any of these. This could be great additions to our project. But as Marilise said, we are working on a short-term and a long-term solution. Long-term solution would include municipalities after decentralization. Maybe a lot of issues need to be resolved. You are already aware of that, as I can see. But these are in the longer-term plan of our project. Our shorter-term plan relies on our technology, and we already have enough to provide the needed raw material in order to begin our recycling process. Down the road, it would be amazing if we can accomplish those pillars, but these will be pillars we will be working on because we care about actually making an impact and not only profiting from recycling trash bags. We actually want to raise an awareness and want to make an impact on the youth and environmental pillars. So that's my answer to your question.
In terms of financials, you have one sentence here that you say this project will have an approximately yearly net profit of $140,000 with a payback period of 1.5 years, knowing that the plant lifespan is 15 years. Have you done your math, or this is just a hint?
Actually, this was our final year project. So we have done a very elaborate economic study. We included inflation, depreciation, everything you can think of. And we actually did it two types of economical analysis. We did an economical analysis where we just evaluating what our project needs, and we used a reference called Plant Design Economics for Chemical Engineers, and we approximated our economical expenses using indexes, and they were quite similar. So when it comes to our economical analysis, it's true that it's preliminary, but at the same time, we have figures that will change when we meet with experts who can correct them. But as far as the model is concerned, and if you would be interested, we would love to have your input after this webinar, because this project is a long-term project for us. You can see the economical model, and if you think we need to refine it, we will. But everything is included, from inflation to depreciation to employees, from managers to labor. Everything is included in our economical model.
And one more thing, we have like different ideas to optimize our process, like having the waste water facility in our process to reduce the water consumption, which will reduce the operating cost. Like we have different ideas in mind to make our process the most optimized process, just to have like the biggest amount of revenues.
And one more thing to add on the economical model. It's very important to know that this economical model is done on a worst case scenario analysis, and that we sold the pallets price we put is a little bit discounted for youth and entrepreneur, because we really want to help Lebanese youth who have startups and who cannot import pallets anymore because of the dollar problem Lebanon is facing.
maybe a last question. I've noticed you work with a huge team, in fact, with so many people from Switzerland involved and all that. How did you manage to empower them to contribute and help you? And how do you see the evolution in the future? Because it's not so easy to work with such big teams.
Yeah, actually, credit where credit is due. Marilise did a great job in recruiting members from all across the world and putting individual attention to each of them, and Dante helped us make a lot of connections, and it was pretty humbling for us to admit at some point marketing is not our thing, graphic design is not our thing. We need people who are experts to do that. Now Marilise can explain more on how she empowered them, how she motivated them, because everyone worked their hearts out for our project, and this is why it gives me so much hope, even considering that we only, our team is consisted of 12 members, only 2 were able to make it here, and this was the end goal for now. Potentially we find an investor, and everyone was so happy to just make it to the other stage. No one wanted, no, I want to come, I want to come. Everyone is still contributing, even if there is no end goal in sight, and now Marilise maybe can give you more details as to how she empowered them and she met with them individually.
Like the first thing that Peter and I started with the project, and we had 3 mentors from the Switzerland who are who are among us in the founders team. Then for the second phase of the competition, we had to rise the Swissness aspect of our project. That's why, like, we thought, what are the needs in our project, and with the help of our mentor, Dr. Marty, who helped us with the technical mentors, and with the help of Gastone and Valentina, who are business students, we were able to find the marketing and the graphic designers, and we were working 3 teams in parallel in order to obtain our objective at the end. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, I think we'll move on to the other team. I think, oops, who's next? Reloop.
Thank you. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Gael, and I am at base a biologist and biochemist, currently pursuing my master's in genomics and proteomics. My colleague Ryan and I will be representing Team Reloop from Lebanon. I want to start by asking all of you a simple question. Do any of you know how much food waste is generated yearly? Any idea whatsoever? Excuse me? Yeah, exactly. So 1/3 of the food produced globally for human consumption, which is about 1.3 billion tons, gets lost or wasted yearly. Said food losses amount to $1 trillion in costs, according to the UN Environment Programme. And in Lebanon particularly, nearly 30% of the food is wasted. It would be of great advantage to make something out of all that waste, right? Well, I'm here to tell you about how we at Reloop envisioned a one-of-a-kind startup that by taking in the food waste and integrating state-of-the-art technologies not only solves the waste problem, but is also invested in creating resources that are biopolymers, biocharcoal, and compost. So I will now take you through our visions and goals. As a start, we decided to tackle the current linear economic production model, which is based on the thinking of take, create, and throw away, and adapt a more circular economic model. Our project will implement this vision by taking in the food waste and turning it into 3 alternative resources. By putting together a team of scientists from diverse backgrounds and assigning each of us a position based on our individual strengths, we were able to come up with a process that dictates 3 fates for our waste. So after proper sorting at collecting point and pre-treatment, we will be turning whey, waste oil, and starch into bioplastics by bacterial fermentation. As for bones and diseased plants, they will be turned into biocharcoal and bio-oil by pyrolysis, and all other organic waste will be invested in a composting process. We have decided to target the 3 bioresources previously mentioned for their great impact on economy and market projections. In fact, the global bioplastics market projections were $10.7 billion in 2021, projected to grow to $29 billion by 2026, according to businesswire.com. Alongside other projections, a process like ours, even though a bit costly, will reward us with a steady and growing revenue. Our company presents many advantages in regards to competitors. First, we have a strong base and starting point for our production, as we were able to produce a prototype of our bioplastic resin at the lab using potato starch. Second, our entire process is very eco-friendly, as it is at almost zero carbon footprint, no waste, and also presents great greenhouse gases savings. Lastly, creating such a company would require a big number of working hands and continuous research and development, thus providing our youth and our specialists with endless job and internship opportunities. Finally, for our future projects, we first want to start by moving from selling the bioplastic resin as raw material to making use out of it by producing our single-use bioplastic cutleries and packaging. Second, we want to collaborate with farmers in order to turn some of the food waste into appropriate food for the animals they will be farming. And lastly, we plan on expanding our locations to multiple sites within and outside of Lebanon. On an ending note, I hope this has highlighted the impact of integrating tomorrow's technologies in today's solutions. This was our take on how to build a sustainable future from the valorization of food waste, and thank you for listening.
So this is a story about Reloop, and this is the poster the flyer we did. And we are ready for every question.
Okay, I was not sure if you want to say. I didn't want to interrupt you. So thank you very much for this also very nice presentation. Yeah. Where you picked up, I will say, quite a lot of absolutely, yeah, I will not say even state-of-the-art, even future developments, yeah, with the biochar, with the PHP, with the composite, with the composting, yeah. So my question in this is, how do you think, would it be feasible to do the PHP fermentation in Lebanon? Technically wise, from the processing, from the machinery, what you need and everything, do you think it's realistic?
Okay, so we have thought about optimizing our PHA production by only needing 2 bioreactors. The first one will be a batch feeding fermenter, which will create biogas. This biogas will be then transported into the other bioreactor, in which the bacteria will be stocking the gas as the resin. So the optimization of the process is very clear to us. We only need these 2 bioreactors for the PHA. As for the biocharcoal, it's only the pyrolysis process, which is quite short and not very needy in terms of machinery. And it produces biocharcoal and bio-oil. The bio-oil can also be used for the production of PHA. So this is also require us less resources. And for the composting, it's pretty clear. We only need like a closed environment and some just aeration for the process.
Yeah. For the composting, for me, it's quite clear, yeah, that, and I think it's also an excellent idea, yeah, to take it out. I will say in these 3 pillars you showed up, this is maybe the low-hanging fruit, yeah, technically wise. And the biochar, I mostly know from, we have now also some biochar producers in Switzerland, yeah, but mostly there is this big development in the US and even Canada to make the biogas and then the biochar. And but the PHP fermentation, yeah, is still, I would say, quite tricky, yeah, because we are thinking in the plastic business since 15 years. We are saying, yeah, the PHP will be the substitution for PE. And still in the moment, we have not so much tons in the market, I will say, yeah. So we see there are certain restrictive pushbacks, yeah. So why you think you can overcome this now?
We actually based our entire project on many scientific articles we have read, and also other companies that have similar production models, which we based our thinking on. And we were able to come to a conclusion that, first of all, PHA is the most suitable form of biopolymers that we can produce because it has the longest shelf life. And it also can be produced by a variety of bacterial strains. Also, as I previously said, its production is very optimized by only needing 2 bioreactors. this is not the full version, of course, of the production model. We still have a lot ahead of us. We're only just fresh graduates as scientists, but we could use our combined knowledge in microbiology and biotechnology to further optimize and work on this process.
Thank you. That's great idea, but I would say you have to push away some stones on the way.
Okay, thanks for the presentation. And you with Pesticide and our partners, our colleagues from Palestine, you cover the entire circular economy. Now, you are too scientific. I have no idea what you are doing in terms of the science. But what I wanted to ask you, again, collection, some logistics, okay? You are collecting food waste. And how are you planning to do that, especially if we're talking about bones and from butchers maybe, so how are you planning to do that now that we just discussed it with other colleagues that in Lebanon it's very expensive to go around and collect things from the
Yes. So we initially plan on collecting from resources that will not have contamination for the food waste. So for example, hospitals, from the hospital meals, bakeries, and local restaurants. So we could get immediately our food waste sorted without any contaminants or any other of municipal waste, which will be our first step. Second, we really thought about collaborating with our colleagues. For example, if iCollect were able to further develop their idea, we will be able to form a very nice collab with them where they can sort out the waste for us and we can buy it directly sorted.
In the second page, you write hummus. Can we find another word for that? Like paste is paste, right?
Yeah. Kind of.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm done for now.
Yes, maybe one question on the how you work, in fact, with the professors and all that. How did you progress through your thinking between this idea and then the presentation of the project? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, of course. Well, at first, our project started 2 years ago when we were in the Holt Prize. Mainly in the Holt Prize, it was about the same idea. We were tackling food waste to produce bioplastic packaging. But then we thought that why should we be a company that generates more waste? So the food waste that we couldn't use for the bioplastic, why not make something else out of it? So we did our research, and with the help of some of our professors from university, we were able to come out with this plan. It may still be a rough patch for us. The ideation is there. The scientific validation is there. So everything is already tested, and it's possible to do it. So this is what we based our ideation on.
So maybe one follow-up question from my side. So you said you are a company now, yeah? So in which stage you are, yeah? Because also here on the flyer about the company, yeah? So what is your stage of the, I would say, of the development of your progress? Where you are in the moment, yeah? Do you have a pilot line already, or you are in the lab, or so?
We are still in our ideation process. But however, we wanted to test out some of our ideas before putting them out to the public, hence why we started trying to make the bioplastic resin in the lab using potato starch. Because as I mentioned, one of the main wastes for the production of PHA will be starch. So we tried the potato starch along with the glycerine and other products in the lab, and we were able to make a prototype. Of course, it's not going to be the same quality as the one that we will make on an industrial scale, but on a macromolecular level, it's made out of the same components, so it's feasible. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, just one question. Then we'll have time for questions afterwards while the judges count up the points, just for your information.
Thank you for sharing. So what you're doing is you're valorizing food waste, yeah? However, I mean, in order also to tackle food waste, there's another aspect. It's really reducing food waste. And what will be the, the role in your program on really addressing and tackling food waste in the household and not over-valorizing food waste?
The main aspect of our idea would not be to reduce the food waste, but rather to manage it. So we're going to be a waste management company, if I may say. But maybe in our future plans, we may be able to implement something to tackle the problem at the source. But I think in parallel, if we were to do that, it will affect our production. Because it will, by reducing the waste, we will be reducing our end products and thus reducing our revenues. Thank you.
I have a problem with that.
Which is?
Exactly. Our aim as humans is to reduce the impact on our planet. And if we are eating too much, there are people who are not eating any. And by eating too much and spoiling and spending and wasting and throwing away, we are consuming our planet. So by saying that you don't care for tackling the consumption because you want to make profit, this is not the right way of dealing with the question in place.
Yes, I understand. I didn't mean to say to implement that I wouldn't care, because it would be very contradictory of myself to tackle the food waste but ignore all the people that are living in hunger and famine all around the world. However, some of the food waste that can be sorted, if it's still in good condition, it could still be donated to some of the NGOs.
Different. I think she was meaning of, as human beings, we consume less. If you go to a restaurant, we order less food. Home, we cook less food. I think this is what you meant. And if you're saying that you don't care about that because if there is less food waste, your project would not be feasible. So please think twice about that.
Yes, but I think that tackling just like what you said, if we were to go to a restaurant and we order less, that would require a change in the mindset and the human
awareness.
Characteristics.
This is exactly what we need to do as human beings, especially you as environmentalists. You need to teach us how to consume less. This should be part of everybody's job, actually, not you only. Everybody has to take care of how much we are consuming from our planet. So profit is important, but the planet is more important because it's for our future generation, for our children and grandchildren. So please think about it, because this is, I just said what I want to say. Thank you.
Maybe one last question. So, with whom you with whom you are working in Switzerland in the moment, or did you reach somebody out?
We actually only have, for the minute, our mentor. His name is Jakob. He is a student at the Lausanne University. Okay. And we also contacted one of the
myself.
Head of,
yes, but due to the fact that I'm a judge, I couldn't react on that. Okay.
Yeah, we also contacted Mrs. Lise de Bouge. She actually gave us a training. She is from the R&D department at Nestlé for packaging. So she should be getting back to us anytime soon.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's time for our last team, but not least, from the UAE University Team Sustainable Builders. Welcome.
It's the 4th of November, 2025. You've been using sustainable builders for managing and selling excess construction materials in your construction sites. No more waiting for approvals, renting a truck to transport these materials and dump them into the landfills, which used to swallow up your time, spend your money, and affect sustainability. I am Mahra Al-Maqbali, and I'll be presenting the Sustainable Builders mobile application with my colleague Moza Al-Mansouri. So, statistics shows up that 70% of the total waste in the UAE is construction waste, which will be growing in the next few years because of the current globalization in the UAE. So did you know that Dubai alone produces more than 5,000 tons of construction waste every single day? All of these problems threatens the natural resources, sustainability, and the construction and the financial stability of construction firms. So here it comes, the Sustainable Builders mobile application, where recycling companies and other stakeholders can find excess construction materials and deal with each other to make a trade. So us as youth and sustainable builders and also young inventors, our goals is to conserve raw materials by reducing, recycling, and reusing those materials. We also want to achieve sustainability by creating a new way, a new strategy of managing these materials. And it is so important to us to engage youth, part of our mission as young environmentalists via projects, volunteering activities, and even job opportunities. So our app is unique. It has many features. One of the features is the My Idea tab, which allows youth to share their ideas or solutions in waste management like strategies and find supporters for their ideas. And we also have job opportunities, as I mentioned before, and volunteering tabs. So we are in the process of growing. As you can see, we managed to present our project in GITEX, which made us rise and shine. And we are in the process also of raising funds. We almost reached like now 15% of the fund that will help us on creating the app. So here are our stakeholders or supporters. We have Dubai Youth Council and, as you can see, other companies. So sustainable builders will not stop here. We have a long road. So as you can see, we're in the process of forming connections, spreading awareness, and also raising 10K for going to the next step and building or launching the app. We want to form our licensed company one day that is managed by us, youth and young Emiratis. We also want to extend the app to not only target the construction waste. We wanted to target also all kinds of waste like plastic, e-waste, and other. So Moza, tell us why it is the right time for sustainable builders.
Well, Mahra, this is the right time because UAE is considered as a fast-growing country. And this fast-growing pattern will actually lead to many rapid globalization and industrialization, which we are proud of. But this will have a negative impact on the resources and environment. We need to find a solution, an immediate solution, and we believe that sustainable builders is a good way to go. Also, this app would now, of course, everyone knows about the issue, the Arab unemployment issue that the Arab world is facing right now. The challenge of having 100 million unemployed youth in the next 10 years. And this app would be a good start on providing job opportunities to the youth. So our target market, we have 3 main target market. Our main one is the construction companies and recycling companies, because without them, we cannot do any change. They are the only people that can do a visible change. And then we're gonna have the people with construction sites, job seekers, and as well youth, because they are the foundation of this nation, and if we target them, we're going to target the future. Next slide. So our competitors, I can say that sustainable, it could be somehow braggy, but Sustainable Builders is kind of the first unique app in the UAE that offers a trading opportunity of excess construction materials and waste. So we don't have right now many competitors. We have somehow indirect competition with the small unknown scrap shops and used material shops, but for right now we're the only one aiming to be leading in this industry. Our market size, I will not bother you with numbers, but as you can see, okay, it's somehow messy. We can see that the estimation here, because as I said before, we're unique, so we don't have a real accurate numbers. We just estimated our numbers based on construction field, construction companies, and these are this project is gonna be a profitable one. And these are our beloved people, our backbone. They were supporting us from the beginning, and we're glad that we have them all through the way. We can see that youth is excited, and like they are participating and asking for internship and volunteering from now. We're really glad to have them from the beginning. This is our team, our beloved team: Mahra, me, Shog, Maryam, and engineer Bashar. To contact us, please scan the QR codes, and please scan this one to contribute to making a change, because right now we're crowdfunding. Thank you all. We're glad to answer any questions.
So thank you very much for this nice presentation. Yeah, you had to wait quite long now. It's quite difficult. I'm not an expert in construction, but and I think it's a very important topic what you mentioned, yeah, because I learned the last few weeks that we have to build. If we put all buildings together, all building which are going on every month, yeah, so we would build each month one city like New York, yeah, which is quite impressive, yeah. But one question from my side: if we are talking on this 5,000 tons per day, do you have an estimation how much is demolished stuff, how much is maybe plastic, how much could be stones which could be used on your app? So do you have a certain, have you made already I will say their investigation? So what kind of material and waste these 5,000 tons per day are?
We don't have like real numbers, but mostly like the construction waste we're gonna try to reuse are like steel, stainless steel, concrete, aluminium. We're planning, as Mahra said, if like in future we're gonna like may have like the
other waste like plastic and e-waste. Like this is in our future plans.
But for right now, it's only like aluminium and like pure construction waste. And actually, all construction waste can be recycled, can be crushed and reused again. So this is like our main goal right now. Hopefully, I answered your question.
Can you elaborate a little bit more about the type of job opportunities you're going to create?
So these job opportunities are based on recycling. So for example, if like someone with a low budget, like trying to find someone to recycle his let's say construction waste that he already have in a low budget, youth can do that. Like for example, painting, let's say the concrete. Like we saw some like people trying to paint concrete, and people are searching for like these people who will give them, these youth who will give them like a good price or a good deal for this. So these are like one-time job opportunities.
If I may add, also as well as like in the construction site, we're gonna need people to collect the materials. To like if of course it's gonna be from our hand. If it is a big construction waste, we're gonna need people. That's why we mentioned internships and volunteering. We really want to focus more on youth and empowering them more than like having job opportunities right now. But of course in the future it's gonna get bigger and bigger. Yeah.
Do you think this is the type of job opportunities they are looking for?
Hello, my name is Shog. I'm a team member too. I'd like to elaborate more on this. So basically, as job opportunities, we have a lot of local people. Instead of living in apartments, they always seek building their own houses. In a young age, as a local person, I've seen a lot of my family members, friends in school, always talking about building their homes, home projects. And we see a lot of excess waste. What I see in my neighborhood and other neighborhoods is that there are some people who have these unofficial relationship with recycling companies and actual companies that could use this material, but they're taking it away, and they're because they know that no one cares about where this construction waste goes. So they take it and they reuse it, and they actually get profit from it, this short amount of profit. What we want to do is make a bridge between regular people who have single-use projects and important stakeholders like companies to actually manage this waste together. It's actually just like excess material, not even really waste, but people are treating it like waste. But for the job opportunities is that some people do notice this construction waste and the huge amount they have dumped in front of their houses and projects. And they have these like simple ideas, but they don't have this energy or enough will to actually do something about it. But if they have this opportunity, it's not really a job, but rather than a small project or something they can do about it, about their own really excess material. So it's like an easy window for them to actually do something about this in a very short amount of time and have their goal like ended and then continue with their life. But they get to they do something about this waste.
It's like being paid for doing good, you know.
Yes.
So it's just a small contribution.
Okay, I have to say that this is one of the biggest challenges for countries like UAE and cities like Dubai. By far, the numbers you are saying is sometimes even more. Now, let's put these things in context here. Okay, we have the mega projects, very big, massive projects, where the waste sometimes called scrap, and companies use them, they sell them, because those who buy them, they can extract lots of valuable material. Now, part of that cannot be used goes to the crushers, as we saw yesterday in the event on Wednesday. Now, and this topic is so important that the construction industry is working hard on solving this problem and using this waste as a part of the value creation or value usage. Now, to go back to the context, we have very big mega projects and we have those small projects that you are talking about. I think you might, I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, are you talking about the entire size or the big and small, or only the small ones where a small house is being constructed and something is left over, or you are going, for example, to a project like Abu Dhabi Airport, that they have immense amount of construction waste. Who is your target?
So I don't know if you can see it. We have a موجودة هنا. We actually have subscription plans, and for each like category, as you mentioned, the mega, the big companies, and the small like projects. So like for the individual, there is a unique subscription plan, and there's for gold and platinum. So whatever like a company this is, they can choose like whatever suits them. So if it is we can handle both. So whatever the individual feels like, what kind of subscription plan they want to take, they can have like their own. It's because the prices is also different.
Yeah. Construction companies that exist in the country and other countries, they already have been dealing with this for quite some time, since they started working in the construction, and they already have their channels to dispose those or to sell those scrap, and the scrap will be, as I mentioned before, used. So why a big company, a mega company, major company, UAE or in Dubai or in Al Ain, where they come from, why would they come to you when they already have their channels to sell their waste? I see it more into going to small construction sites where someone is building a small building, an apartment or a house, and there is a leftover. So I see your product is more viable to those to this market. It's called market segmentation. So please look at it. So do your market segmentation and try to find where your efforts should go. Because if you go to the major companies, unless they want to help you, it's difficult to approach them because they are making tons of money out of the scrap because they know where to go, where to send them. So I would suggest that you go to the small builders in Al Ain, for example. Yeah. I think your idea is nice for Al Ain, but for mega projects, I have some doubts there.
Yeah. You're absolutely right about the channels with the bigger companies, but what these channels don't offer is they exclude these smaller projects. So what this really, our idea is just a platform. All the work is really done by these different individuals that have these different plans for them according to their needs. And then if we have a bigger company subscribed into the Platinum, which is the one that has more, how can I say, more features. Yeah, more features. The smaller individuals can recognize them, just like in Instagram, some accounts are verified, for example, and then they can contact them even for the job opportunities. So this is just another channel that the bigger companies can use where they can have the smaller individuals in contact with them.
In contact for what? To collect their waste?
Yeah, for example, maybe they're working with other indirect companies, smaller companies, but then if they have, this is for the individuals to make, not a collaboration, but like directly manage their waste to the bigger companies. So this is a direct channel for them. Maybe the bigger channels will recognize that the smaller or the smaller projects are trying to do something, and then they, with the use of the platform, they can facilitate this direct channel between them.
Again, it's extremely important topic, extremely important. But do your segmentation and target those customers that are more prone, or there is a likelihood that they will come to you and ask for your service.
Will do,
okay?
Thank you.
Actually, talking about big companies, we tried to contact Dhafra, so Dhafra Recycling. And okay, they didn't reply. Flash news. But yeah, like we had like networking sessions and stuff, and like there is like somehow promising. I would not say like it is for sure, but there's somehow promising future that we would have contact with Dhafra. Like if we did have like this kind of support, of course, this would be a tremendous improvement to us, and like that's all I wanted to add. Because
you remember you were here 2 days ago when Dalscourse talked, and you saw that they have a plant in Mulkowain. You might want to approach them. They would definitely be able to give you some ideas, and yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Now, it is time for us to take a decision. I'll invite the judges to exit the room for a few minutes while they do their maths and calculate. In the meantime, I would like to open the floor for any questions you might have for our participants. Yes, sure.
Thank you and thank everyone. There's a question, or do I thank?
Oh, there's a question over there.
For the Plasticycle team, it's on. Just a quick question on financials. Sorry, just a quick question on financials. You say you wash with chemicals to de-ink the process. How often do you need to like refresh the chemicals? Is it like you need to do it every one batch of like plastic bags, or do you need to top up, just out of curiosity?
Well, we compared like different types of solvents that we will be using. It depends like what type of waste or what type of ink we will be having. So this will make us do the decision about the solvent, and based on the solvent, we will make our decision. And I have already told your colleague yesterday that we are planning to have our wastewater facility in the plant. So by this way, we're going to collect the ink pigments, and we'll be able to sell them at the end of the process.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nope. Anybody else?
Thank you. Quick question to the last team. You're now raising 10,000 dirhams. How much are you willing to give to potential investor for this amount in terms of shares of the future company? So you are now raising 10,000 dirhams to develop the app, right? That's the fundraising round that you have. How much you're willing to give to a potential investor in terms of shares of the company?
It depends on like what we're offering, what like we're getting from the investors. Yeah.
It's a small project at the beginning,
Yeah.
so it's not a high promising payback.
So it's high risk, and but eventually it's early stage, so can be interesting.
Yeah, it's in exactly.
Okay, shukran.
Afwan.
Any other questions you might have for our public? No, the tension is increasing. Yes, Peter.
Let me break the tension. I just want to thank everyone here, and thank you a lot, Dante, for being able to organize this very nice event and for having us here and giving us this opportunity to begin with. And I just want to say that whoever wins today deserves to win. We really are happy to see these much innovative startups coming to light. And just thank you for everything. You have been a great support, and we really are grateful for everything everyone in this room did for us.
Thank you very much, Peter. No, this is, I think, the purpose of us being here at Expo. Of course, Expo is here for 6 months, but the aim is for us to build a legacy beyond these 6 months, to build a legacy and to have such projects emerge from colleagues, from universities, from the Middle East and from Switzerland. So just for your information, we have a networking reception afterwards, where we have a selection of food, soft drinks, and also alcoholic beverages if you want. So we're just waiting for the judges. They'll be there shortly. Please.
I just wanted to make a quick comment to all of you guys. I'm so proud of you. I work at the Ministry of Energy in Saudi Arabia, and we're working on the circular carbon economy. And to see efforts from youth towards technologies and solving problems is so empowering, and it's so beautiful to see this. So I'm proud of all of you guys for all these efforts. It's because of you guys the future is going to look brighter. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh. Yes, tell me.
Just keep the momentum. Welcome to Saudi Arabia to visit. So my colleague Peng stayed there for around 10 years. I stayed there for 3 years. We are doing PhD, and he finished PhD, and Saudi Arabia is very good place to visit for all of us. So it's like because of the pandemic, people now prefer to traveling inside Saudi Arabia, and we keep exploring inside the Saudi Arabia. It's very, very nice. So.
the best fish in Saudi. In Thual. Thual has the best fish. So you guys are lucky because I'm a pescatarian. So
Okay.
seafood is my main
Yeah, you
my
did,
main thing. So you guys are lucky. I'm envious.
Yes, you see this. You can enjoy seafood. You enjoying the historical site in Saudi. Okay, bring back to center. Thanks so much for organizing.
My pleasure. While we wait one or two few more minutes, I would like to invite our Commissioner General Manuel Sachli to say a few words about tonight.
Thank you, Dante. I'm supposed the deal would have been that I talk a little bit about the pavilion, but I think this is going to be boring after all these inputs that we listened to. I just wanted to say how happy I am to finally see you. I knew that you were coming somehow, but it's very nice to see a group of young people who have come up with all these projects. I'm very excited to have followed what you're doing, but in the same time, and I would put this on the floor, I think we have looked at solutions that tackle problems that could actually be dealt with at an earlier stage. One of the members of the jury was talking about the food waste. Why should we not motivate people actually to create less food waste? And I've been to a lot of lavish Lebanese dinners, and apparently it's just a fashion in Lebanon to fill the table. I was shocked. I was shocked to see all this food on the table. You knew when you sat down that you could never finish it. You could maybe deal with 20% of it, and the 80% we were wondering where they would go. I've been to a dinner hosted by Expo, and Her Excellency Rima Al-Hashimi told me that was during the National Day of Switzerland, where the Emiratis hosted Switzerland, in the Leadership Pavilion, beautiful setup. There was, again, tons of food, but Her Excellency told me that I should tell the Swiss delegation that actually all this food that was going to be left over was going to be given to the needy. So there are solutions like this. But and it's not only about the food, it's about other projects like sorting waste. And yes, I'm blessed, I come from Switzerland, but in Switzerland, it looks ridiculous, but we have small apartments with even smaller kitchens, but we have like 10 different bags where we actually sort waste. Before we just dump it somewhere, and then we need a clever machine to do a job that actually the human being could do at home. So I'm a little bit between these two worlds. I'm happy to see what you have come up with, but then I'm sad about the fact that it needs such solutions because we human beings just seem not to learn.
I think the main problem here is the diversity in cultures. So in Switzerland, you are willing to sort out your waste, while in Lebanon, this is the main barrier for our projects. Hence why we need to collab with other teams that may have a solution to that. And regarding the immense amount of food that we put on the tables, it is actually part of Lebanese ideologies and courtesy, if I may say, to never throw out any food. So everything that is on the table has to go away, has to get eaten eventually. So thank you.
Yes, please. No, please do not understand this as criticism. It's just sharing my really emotional and first-hand thoughts. And I do not criticize any of the cultures or any of the traditions, but I think it's interesting to spend a few minutes before the jury come back to think about these things.
Yeah, honestly, I'm talking a lot because I'm stressed, so this helps me cope. Anyways, I really agree with the point you said, and I think this is something as people, we forget that we are people. Like, for example, during my presentation, I even said, people do this, people do that, but sometimes we forget that we are included with these people, that sometimes we order a bit too much when we know we will not finish the food. Sometimes I know that not using the plastic bag and for remembering to get my paper bag from home will make things easier, but I say, it doesn't matter, I'm not the only one who will do this. So I think we should go through a paradigm shift of where we start to identify ourselves as people. We start with ourselves, as cliche as it sounds, because it sounds really cliche, and a lot of ads have been done through that, but I think we should be humble and accept that we are the people. it's not me and others, it's us collectively, and we should start by ourselves. So
Very, very good point. And we are the people, and you are the young people who can make a change. I'm 57 years old. I won't make any changes anymore, you know. But you are the young people. You can make a change. Sorry, you wanted to say something, no?
Well, yes, I just wanted to justify their position where in their project, especially for the Lebanese market, they focused on managing the waste because they know the culture and the basics of how in Lebanon food waste are going to be. So I just want to, this point was made exactly to justify the position of their project.
Yes, and I think that's maybe also a little bit the problem of us in the Western world, that we, how to say this politically correct?
Or you can say
that
that
maybe, you know, we want, okay, we tell the developing world, don't use cars, huh? Don't use cars. Not everybody needs a car. But we, in the 70s, everybody wanted a car, and we had 2 or 3 cars per family. Now we don't even have 1 car per family in Switzerland, because a lot of people living in cities, they don't have cars, they use public transport, they take the train to go skiing or whatever, and maybe that's a mistake that we made. And talking about human beings, that we all have to go through the steps that the whole world went through, and we're just in different phases, depending on where we live. And that's why, yes, you need to find ways of sorting waste or doing something with waste before you arrive to another solution where we maybe already are. Yeah.
While the process is taking its time, the waste production needs management.
Exactly. I mean, you went ahead of us with these solutions, but we're still quite behind. So why not help manage the problem that we're still in while taking our time? So each one of us evolves at its own rate, as long as we eventually all get to the same goal.
I think time is an important factor, and we have to be very honest. I think you learned it along the way. Yes, we do promote ourselves as Switzerland being the world champion in recycling. I think we collect 95% of glass. We collect 80-something% of PET, and we boast, and we're proud of this, but we don't talk about that Switzerland is among the top 10 countries when it comes to producing waste. In our households, in our industry, we're among the top 10 countries producing waste. So there's always 2 sides of the medal. I'm very interested in continuing this discussion outside after the jury, but now I think all the interest should be with the members of the jury. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached a verdict. I will let our jury announce it. Beforehand, I would like to thank each and every team for your hard work and encourage you. This is by no means the end. We can only pick 1 finalist, but for all other teams, we encourage you to keep in contact, to collaborate with us, to keep in touch, because all teams will continue to our collaborations. But now it's time for the judgments.
Yes. Thank you, Dante. I have a huge responsibility that I was given by my colleagues here, so I will speak on behalf of the team. First, I really like to thank you very much, because all the projects were really, really excellent. And it's great to see that you started 6 months ago, you know, and that you have been progressing throughout your project and all that. And it's quite impressive. So the first thing I would like to say is that don't give up now, even if you don't win, because I think there are rooms, and also, I mean, we have been discussing opportunities in all the projects. So I think some of them require probably a bit of fine-tuning. Some others, you know, maybe you need to look at your target. But I guess all the feedback that we are given, and we are probably also will be here to give a bit more feedback as well, all of them are going in the right direction. So don't give up, fine tune, see how you can improve and all that, because there are probably really someone that could really go to the end. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that obviously we had to make a choice. So this is not the easiest part for us now, but we collectively decided to give the prize to a Plasticycle. So.
Well, first I want to express my happiness that we arrived here to this stage. And I want to express my sincere gratitude for everyone who was in our team, who contributed and who helped us. And I want to thank Dante and the Swiss Next Network for this opportunity. Plasticycle started as a university project, and we're very proud that today it's our first step in order to be an official startup and to start the change that we wish to see in Lebanon. Thank you very much.
This is actually very humbling. This, as Marilise said, started as a university project. We didn't know it had the potential to be developed to become what it is today, and for us to be where we are today. It's not only us. There are 10 other members of our team who contributed equally. We just had the chance to be the one representing the team. There are a lot of stakeholders who helped us, our university instructors, and yeah, it's just humbling to be here. It has been pretty hard in the last year with COVID, and especially in Lebanon. It's been hard to dream, and it's been hard to have hope, but I think today isn't the end. The win isn't our end, it's our beginning, and hopefully 10 years from now your decision will be rewarded and Plasticycle will be a project and that truly reaches its mission and vision. Thank you. Thank you again for everything, Dante, and for making this possible.
So, just to give you a bit more information, the winning team will be awarded 1 week within the Nestle Incubator R&D in, we hope, physically in Lausanne by next year. All teams will also be encouraged to interact also with Nestle, with Swissnex, with the other universities. This is not the end, guys, and this is very important. This is not the end, okay? We wish that your projects succeed, all succeeds. So, without further ado, we have a networking celebration event on the rooftop, for which we're now late, but it's okay. It was worth it. And we also have a small thing, a small present on behalf of the Swiss Pavilion.
It's funny, you know what it is? It is food.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.